Hello, family. Hey. Wanted to come through and make another segment of On the Couch. And this is something that recently came out. I'm sure everybody was made aware yesterday about the HIV vaccine that was finally, I guess, approved for distribution. And I just have a few comments about that. Now, back in college, I worked for many nonprofit organizations that, dealt with the reproductive health of African American women and also men. And living in Atlanta, that's one of the areas where we have a lot of, gay and lesbians, that population that resides there. And it's no secret. They say that San Francisco and some other select places where that are more gay and lesbian friendly cities, and therefore they will have much more resources for them at their disposal. Just like here in the Bay Area, for example, there are many legal clinics for LGBT and gay and lesbian rights advocates in order to advocate for their rights to, for employment discrimination, for access to health care, different things that happen, that goes along with being of that group, because unfortunately they are being still discriminated against, and their situation is not easy, especially when there's a venereal disease that affects their population more disproportionately than any other, besides black women. Because besides black women, I believe gays and lesbians are the front runners of those who are infected with new HIV infections each year. With the HIV vaccination, I heard about studies and trials back in college. A lot of the people that I worked with that were that had this condition actually signed up for some of these trials and actually took part in them. And it was kind of interesting. And I wasn't sure then and even now how I feel about having a vaccine. I naturally don't like vaccines at all. I don't really believe in them. I don't believe in putting a dead virus in your body for purposes of immunity, because we all know that you have to be exposed to the condition in order for your body to build up the immunity to fight it off in the future for future infections. For instance, like the cold virus, the flu, any other viral infections that are not completely eviscerated from the body. Once you are exposed, you actually have that virus still in your body, it lays in dormant, but it may be reactivated due to a number of different things. It can be stress, it could be your diet, it can be it could be any bodily changes, anything that may cause it to reactivate, it will reactivate. The purpose of the vaccine is to take the role of what your body naturally does. Your body naturally will fight off these infections and develop white blood cells and antibodies to recognize that bug, disease, or whatever you want to call it once it is active in the body, and it will attack it. And vaccines are supposed to work the same way. The problem is, we know that there are so many different elements in these vaccines that we're not even aware of. Fetal matter, mercury, other different, just other metals. There's so many things that can be found in vaccines in addition to the deactivated bug that is supposed to go into your body. My concern is that with the influx of vaccinations and how they push it on us, you notice how every year there's always a stronger strain of the flu virus. It's always a more resistant form of the flu virus than the season before. That is because we don't allow our bodies to build up the immunity to fight off these infections. These are what we call super bugs. These are bugs that have, the capacity to fight off any type of they can withstand anything that we probably give it, because it's developed how can I say, it's sort of like the bug outsmarted the white blood cell in a sense that we've trained our bodies to fight these bugs a certain way. And if we keep vaccinating ourselves each year, over time, the accumulation of all those bugs may become resistant for future treatments. And the problem with that is these bugs become so powerful that it's harder to treat. To tie that into the vaccination for HIV, it scares me. I can't lie. It really does scare me. I understand that this is a this is a huge step towards, eviscerating this disease. It's a huge step towards stopping the spread of this disease. But I actually feel like there's so many other ways we can combat this disease rather than getting a vaccine. And this goes from not only HIV, it goes for flu, cold, any other virus that we have. There are things that you can do to prepare your body to fight off these infections. For instance, eating right. I eat a fresh, organic, vegan diet. Organic meaning I buy everything organically. I still eat meat. I limit it to maybe fish and chicken. But for the most part, I try to incorporate a lot more vegan foods in my diet as well. So I'm eating more, along the lines of, having vegan, choices in my selection. So if you go in my cabinet, well, you can't go now. I'm in the process of moving, so I packed up all my spices. But for instance, I don't use seasoning salts. I don't use any type of seasonings with MSGs. I don't use any GMO products. GMOs are genetically modified foods. I don't eat them. I read the labels for everything. Anything that contains corn, corn fructose syrup. Oh, shit. Fructose corn syrup. I'm sorry, y'all. Anything of that nature, I don't eat. I make sure the chickens and the meat that I eat are farm raised. They're raised on a vegetarian diet. I go to fresh food markets. I go to Trader Joe's. No longer shop at Whole Foods because they just contracted with Monsanto. That's another video coming as well. I'm going to have to break down this whole Monsanto business. I talk about Monsanto all day long, all day, on Facebook. But I don't think a lot of people know who this company is. But the way to fight off these infections is from the inside. You have to start with your diet. You can't eat, I guess, a fatty, a animal protein diet and expect to be able to fight off these infections. A lot of the foods that we can eat helps prevent them from even coming into our system. They fight them off. And before people take my video way out of context, I'm not saying only eating a diet is the only way to keep from acquiring HIV. Of course, practice safe sex, abstinence. Those are some other options. Safe sex means, finding a contraceptive that works for you. I'm not one to recommend any type of contraceptives because I have my issues with some of those as well. But there are many different forms of contraceptives out there that I don't think a lot of people use. There are a lot of ways to do the same nasty sexual acts you want to do, but do it safely. And what I mean by that, I was a sex ed counselor too in college, so please don't misconstrue that. But I taught young men and ladies how to, do things the right way. If you're going to be like that, if you're going to engage in that type of behavior, make sure you are well protected. But like I said, back to this whole HIV vaccine, I'm not totally excited. I am happy they have it. I'm glad it's a choice for those who would like to, use that choice, especially for people who are in a relationship with someone that is HIV positive and they, don't want to acquire the infection. They can protect both partners. But the idea of a vaccine just really scares me. It just really scares me. And we just have to pay attention to that. There was an article, I think 3 months ago, that I read that, and it wasn't no new news for me, but it was still just as shocking. It said that a lot of the vaccines, I think it was like 70% of vaccines given in sub-Saharan Africa that they give out to the individuals out there did not contain the bug or whatever the strain was that they were trying to protect against. They didn't have that in there. In fact, they had some other stuff. Who knows what that other stuff is? Then that's scary. Scientific racism is still alive and well. And I'm not saying that this HIV vaccine is a form of scientific racism, but it's something that we need to pay attention to, and it's something that we need to take a critical eye to. I always say, take a critical eye to everything. You know, it may be good, it may, you know, it may be the best thing, you know, for us, you know, since, you know, this whole HIV thing jumped off, you know, 30 years ago. But you also have to keep in mind that how vaccines work, how the body works. If you understand how all of that functions, you will be scared too. So please leave a comment. And you know, I'm not in med school, so anybody out there with a health background, please feel free to correct anything that I said. But yeah, let me know what you all think about, you know, having a HIV vaccine, the introduction of it now. How do you feel about that? Please leave a comment, video response. I would love to hear your views. That will be it for this segment of On the Couch. And you all have a fantabulous week. Just an update. I would like to first welcome, I should have did this in the beginning of the video, welcome all of my new subscribers. I just noticed that I had a substantial increase of subscribers in the past couple of months, so I would like to welcome you to my channel. Thank you for joining, and I hope you enjoy. And for my old subscribers that's been riding with me from day one, love y'all. Moving out of California in 2 weeks, going to Atlanta, and don't know where I will end up after that. So got an exam on Friday for summer classes, and then next week I should be finished with all of my summer classes. Y'all pray for me. Till next time.